Hey everyone, if you're on a journey into buying a piece of property in Virginia Beach or any of the surrounding areas, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to review all the cost associated with buying a home in Virginia Beach and the surrounding Hampton Roads area. So when looking at the cost associated with buying a home, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very beginning before you even place an offer on a house. And then we're going to move through the process of negotiating an offer to hopefully getting that offer accepted, and then any additional cost after you finally have your home and you get those keys. So before you even think about purchasing a home, you need to talk to some real estate professionals. And first up would be a mortgage professional, whether it's a mortgage company, a mortgage broker. They're really going to help you understand what it costs to buy a home, not just including the house payment and the mortgage interest you might have to pay, but also they can give you a really good idea on what you actually can afford for your budget. One thing I will tell you here is, regardless of what they tell you you can afford, make sure you look at your budget and make it comfortable for you. They might tell you you can afford $400,000, but when you take a look at that payment, that might be a big piece of your budget. On average, you're trying to stay around 30% for your mortgage cost of your overall total budget. The worst thing you can do is buy a beautiful house, be all excited, and then realize you're house poor and can't do anything but stay at your home. So when they're reviewing the options with you, they're going to go over the different loan types. We're not going to get too involved with the loans here, but the main types of loans, if you are in the military or have served in the military, would be a VA loan. One of the benefits of a VA loan is the opportunity to not have to put down a down payment. You also have FHA loans, which are insured by the government. Those have some down payment requirements from all the way from nothing up to 3 or 4%. You obviously can put down more if you like, as that'll lower your house payment. The last type of loan I'm going to discuss is a conventional loan, and typically conventional loans are for those people with very good credit, but also who are willing to put a big chunk down for their down payment, usually around 20%. Again, I'm not a lender professional, but there are programs out there for conventional loans that are less than 20%. So once you speak to your mortgage professional, they're going to let you know what you can expect as a down payment. They're also going to let you know how much your monthly mortgage payment is. And then another thing they're going to discuss with you is what are the closing costs. Closing costs, typically, this is an average, are around 3 to 4% of the sales price of a home. What a closing cost is actually what the mortgage company is going to charge you to generate that loan. That's how they make their money up front. So that's something you're going to have to factor into your budget. So right off the bat, you got to think about how much you're going to need for a down payment, and then also at closing, what you can expect to pay for closing cost. So now that you've talked to your mortgage professional, the next step is talking to a professional in the real estate industry. As you know, myself, I am a realtor here in Hampton Roads. My information is right next to me here, and I'll also put it in the description below. But make sure you talk to someone that you can trust, and they can not only help you find a house, but guide you in the right path. So let's go ahead and move toward the instance when you have found a home and you're ready to put an offer in, and what that looks like. Okay, so you found your dream home. Now it's time to put in that offer. And I'll tell you, in today's market, it's very competitive out there for buyers, as we really have a low amount of inventory. Therefore, there's usually multiple offers on each home that comes available. So you're definitely going to have to make sure you and your real estate agent understand how many offers you're going up against, so you can make the best offer, but also one that's competitive to the other offers. So a couple things you're going to have to think about. And again, this is all negotiable. So the first thing you're going to want to discuss is the earnest money deposit. What this is a deposit of money that you give to your title company to hold in an escrow account. And it's just showing the seller that you are serious about purchasing their home and that you have a little bit of skin in the game. The amount that you usually put down for earnest money deposit, again, depends on how many offers are out there, but it usually is around $500 to $2,000. But in a very competitive situation, you might even want to put 1% of the sales price's value for an earnest money deposit. As far as the earnest money deposit goes, you will get that money back at closing as a credit to you at settlement. However, if you were to default on the agreement and the contract you have with the seller, you could potentially lose that earnest money deposit and it go to the seller. While that is very rare, that's something you need to discuss with your real estate professional, as you need to know what are the reasons you could potentially lose that earnest money deposit. The next thing you need to think about, we already mentioned when you were talking to your mortgage professional, and that would be closing costs. Closing costs are something when you're writing an offer to a seller that you can potentially ask for them to help you with. Usually people ask between 1% and 3% for the seller to pay their closing costs. One thing I will tell you about that, in today's market, it's usually very hard to get that paid for, as with so much competitiveness in our market, there's usually multiple offers, and anything you can do to make your offer better is definitely recommended. And when you ask for closing costs, that is something the seller is going to have to pay, and they might not be too keen on that. Another thing you might want to negotiate, not every house that's for sale is going to come with all the appliances. You need to know whether it's going to have a washer, whether it's going to have a dryer. It might not even come with a microwave or refrigerator. So that's something you need to know, because if it doesn't come with it, you need to factor that in how much it's going to cost, because you're going to need one of those. The last thing I will tell you as far as what to negotiate for in the offer, there is a few other things that you can discuss with your real estate professional, but the last thing for me would be the closing date. The reason why I mentioned the closing date is that can determine what it's going to cost for you if you're in a long-term lease or a short-term situation where you're living in a hotel. You want to make sure the closing cost meets your needs so that you're not spending out-of-pocket money, being stuck in a hotel because you don't have anywhere to live for 2 more weeks until the house closes. So that's something you need to negotiate. Hello, I hope you're getting value out of this video. If you are, do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button below. I want to get this video out to as many people as possible that potentially are moving here in Hampton Roads. And if you want, take a look at that subscribe button, think about it, because these are the type of videos we provide every week on this channel. And let's get back into the video. All right, so good news. Even though there was multiple offers, your offer got accepted. What is next? So one of the first things you're gonna do is you are gonna schedule a home inspection, or for the most part, your real estate professional will schedule you a home inspection. A home inspection is something that I tell everyone they must have. In today's competitive market, some people have been waiving their home inspection, which I would never advise doing. As far as a home inspection goes, that cost is going to be about $300 to $500, and the home inspector, you are literally paying him to find everything wrong with that house. Now, just because he finds you multiple things wrong with the house doesn't mean you shouldn't purchase the house. You just need to know what items in the house need to be fixed right away, what items in the house are just maintenance items, and then you also have to negotiate with the seller on whether they're going to fix any of those items before you close. The next inspection that is a requirement if you are doing a VA or FHA loan would be a termite and moisture inspection. As the name suggests, they are looking for termite and moisture damage in and around your house, and they also are looking for any moisture damage that could be caused by fungus, usually in the crawl space of the house. This inspection is usually around $100, give or take a couple dollars. This is one thing that can be negotiated whether the seller pays for it or the buyer pays for it. And the termite inspector must be deport licensed in the state of Virginia for that inspection to be applicable for VA or FHA. Some other inspections that are not required that you might want to get, first up would be a chimney inspection. Again, this is not mandatory. The home inspector will tell you a little bit about your chimney, but he or she is not going to get up inside of that chimney, and that's why you need a chimney inspection. That usually costs around $150 to $200. Another thing that you've got to think about, if the house has a septic or a well system, you will need a separate inspection for that septic tank and the well system. It's not extremely common in our area, especially Virginia Beach, to have houses with septic tanks, but the farther you go out from Virginia Beach into Chesapeake and into Suffolk, septics are definitely something you're going to have to look at. And as far as a septic inspection, that can get kind of expensive. You're looking at around $500 to $1,000, as if they need to pump out the septic tank to inspect it, that's when you get in that higher cost of $1,000. Those are the most common inspections you're going to run into, but if the house was built before 1978, there is potential for lead paint, so you might want to do a lead paint inspection, and that's usually something your home inspector probably can help you with. Also, if the house was built with ephes on the outside, that might be something you want to get inspected, because that tends to have water damage associated with it. And there's some other inspections you might want to do, whether it comes with a pool or a hot tub. But again, this is something you need to speak to with your real estate professional, and you guys can decide what inspections you need to do. So my next cost, once you've got a contract accepted, you're going to have to get it appraised. That is a situation with any type of loan, as the appraised value is the amount the bank will be willing to loan you for the house. This is usually paid with your closing cost. Again, you need to talk to someone about this to verify that information. The amount for an appraisal varies pretty widely, but I always tell people between $500 and $1,000 for an appraisal. I want to go over a few costs that really aren't associated with the offer being accepted, but there's stuff you're going to have to pay if purchasing a house. First up would be your home insurance. Home insurance is something you definitely want to have, and if you are having a house with a loan on it, you're going to have it. Prices of home insurance, it greatly varies. I would say $2,000 to $5,000 a year, as there are so many different factors that go into the cost of home insurance. Additionally, if your house is in a flood zone, you're going to need flood insurance, and that's an additional cost. Another factor you're going to have to think of, if your house is in a homeowners association, or if it's a condominium or in a condo association, those are going to be fees you're going to have to pay every month on top of your house payment. Those vary just like the house insurance. You usually can see the amount of these fees in the listing itself, whether you're on Zillow or you're working with your real estate professional, and they maybe have you hooked up with our local MLS. But again, it's a very wide variety. My neighborhood I currently live out in Chesapeake, we pay $130 a year, but we don't really have anything besides some just maintenance, outdoor landscaping that's being done. Some neighborhoods in Virginia Beach, Virginia, could be up to $300 to $500 a month. It all depends on what comes with that as far as the expense, and not every house is going to have homeowner or condo fees. So that's something you need to think about when deciding where to live, because not only does it cost, but you might not like someone telling you what you can and cannot do with your house. Another thing you will have potentially on your loan, and you need to speak to your mortgage professional. This definitely applies to FHA loans and not so much the other loans, but that would be private mortgage insurance, and that's just the insurance on your loan. It varies in price depending on the amount of the loan. And then the last thing that is really important to think about is the overall property taxes. Good news, if you're looking in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Virginia Beach has the lowest property tax in all of Hampton Roads, as they charge 99 cents per $100 of assessed value for your house. And that also is usually paid in an escrow account as part of your mortgage payment. While Virginia Beach is the cheapest in our area, other areas vary greatly, as some are over $1.20. And you just got to do your research as far as what city you're looking at. And as we've discussed, outside of the fact of what the house actually costs, there are so many things you have to think about as what it's going to cost you out of pocket and into your loan when purchasing a house. You definitely want to speak to a professional. If you have any questions, I'm a realtor here in Hampton Roads. I would love to help you. I'll put my information down below. And now that you think you might want to buy a house in Virginia Beach, you might be asking yourself, is that the best area for you? Well, take a look at the video I did here, and we discussed the pros and cons of living in Virginia Beach. And I also have many other videos on the other cities in Hampton Roads. And until the next time, I hope you have a great day.